ChatGerry, From Transistors to Neurons, a late integration of pattern recognition, stroke, and a lifetime of systems thinking, number 1479, VPT Sharp 040, December 25, 2025, Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation, category, pattern recognition, stroke recovery, multidisciplinary research. Introduction. When I was 25, a psychologist at MIT shared a test result that would take me decades to truly understand. She told me that while my IQ of 160 placed me in the genius range, roughly 1 in 30,000 people, my ability to recognize patterns was far more unusual, closer to 1 in a million. At the time, I accepted the result politely. It did not change how I lived or worked, I simply moved on. Over the years, that ability quietly became the engine of my career. It allowed me to invent several breakthrough technologies, and helped me see business and technology trends earlier than others. Eventually, it led me to become the top-ranked CEO on NASDAQ in 1995. I was not just analyzing numbers, I was seeing systems take shape before they fully emerged. Even so, I still did not fully understand what the psychologist meant. Over the next 5 decades, I built companies, survived failures, and later endured serious illnesses. I studied physics, mathematics, engineering, economics, marketing, business management, and psychology. I experienced both success and collapse, including 6 startup failures and 9 life-threatening medical events. Only much later did I begin to understand what extreme pattern recognition truly meant. That understanding arrived on June 21, 2025, after my first stroke. As I reflected on 16 years of self-studied medicine and biomedical research, done without medicine institutions, medical professors, classmates, colleagues, or patients, those words from MIT finally made sense. The realization did not arrive as a sudden intellectual breakthrough. It arrived as recognition. I saw that what I had been doing my entire life was recognizing patterns, including structure, direction, and consequence, across complex systems long before formal proof or calculation. This ability also applied to human thinking and behavior, especially during the years when I led thousands of highly educated engineers from the world's top 5 engineering schools. This article is not written to claim superiority. It is written to explain continuity. What once looked like unrelated chapters of my life were, in fact, training stages of the same internal capability. Why quantitative models still need structure. In my medical research, I use 2 different approaches on the same data. One is quantitative, measuring how stress accumulates and causes damage over time. The other is structural, showing how patterns shift, deform, and reach turning points. Numbers alone tell you how much damage has accumulated. Structure tells you when a system is about to change behavior. When both point to the same turning year, confidence increases. Visual tools such as scatter plots or radar charts can give rough intuition. You can often sense direction and dominance at a glance of dataset. But true measurement still requires quantitative models that account for time, energy, accumulation, and system irreversibility. This is why geometric structure validates quantity, but does not replace the reality of system energy. Why one glance became enough. After nearly 1,000 similar studies across 100 diseases and biomedical systems, I reached a point where a single glance at my data tables often revealed the outcome before calculation. At first, I did not understand why. Only later did I recognize this as pattern recognition. This is not guessing. It is compressed experience. Years of repeated analysis trained my brain to see slopes, inflection points, accumulation trends, and instability zones instantly. This phenomenon is common in many fields. Engineers sense failure before collapse. Doctors sense deterioration before formal diagnosis. Mathematicians feel when an assumption is about to break. In my case, decades of stress and strain analysis trained the same sharp instinct. I still calculate, I still validate, but the direction is often clear immediately. Why semiconductor chip design was brain training. After my stroke, another realization surfaced. For 12 years, from 1991 to 2002, I placed millions of transistors and routed many millions of wires in semiconductor chips. At the time, I treated it as a purely technical profession, much like a chef carefully following complex recipes. To explain my work to Wall Street investors, I used a simple metaphor. Designing chips was like managing spaghetti tangled with meatballs. Wires were spaghetti, transistors were meatballs. Success depended on managing flow, congestion, and failure points. Investors understood instantly. Only later did I realize what I was really doing. A chip is a physical implementation of artificial intelligence. Transistors behave like neurons. Wires behave like neural pathways. Congestion mirrors cognitive bottlenecks. Timing failures mirror delays in thought. Aging causes leakage and stiffness. Overload leads to rupture. Without formal training in neuroscience, I could still move naturally into brain-related research, because the internal systems model already existed. Why the stroke changed everything. The stroke did not create new abilities, it reconnected me to knowledge I had already learned. Neuroplasticity removed the barriers. After the stroke, speed mattered less, integration mattered more, mental noise dropped. What remained was clear structures. Suddenly, the same language of pattern recognition applied everywhere. Medicine, psychology, behavior, society, history, zoology, music, and literature all followed similar stress from strain to energy recovery patterns. Melodies rise and fall. Empires expand and collapse. Emotional outbursts follow recognizable borderline personality disorder patterns. Even why humans eat cows and pigs, rather than the other way around, reflects intelligence, coordination, and adaptability, not physical strength alone. The same principle explains why advanced technology of atom bombs changed the outcome of World War II. Translation cost vanished. I was no longer switching mental or academic languages. Everything spoke the same clear system language. That is why I could write over 200 papers in 6 months after my stroke. Not because I worked harder, but because everything finally aligned. Closing reflection. Looking back, the psychologist at MIT saw potential without context. That context required 5 decades of work, failure, illness, and survival. My past 60 years provided it. Engineering trained spatial thinking. Business trained trade-offs. Disease taught irreversibility. Stroke removed compartment walls. What remains is not brilliance, it is coherence. Pattern recognition did not suddenly appear. It finally revealed itself. Disclaimer: I write this article not for fame, but to share what I have learned, so others can understand complex systems, prevent failure, and live better lives. This content is for educational reference only, and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this article freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights belong to the author, Gerald C.